I'm going to call it to order. And first of all, I want to welcome everybody. And as is our custom, we're going to do the flag salute. If everybody would stand, if you would. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I just want to start out with something. What do you think of the new chairs?
Woohoo!
With the turnouts we're having, maybe I can convince the board to buy another group of them. We bought 30, and we were hoping that would cover, but it doesn't. So we'll consider more. I'll bring it up to the board. Okay. But the first thing I'd like to do is review the show. The board would like to thank all of the volunteers for all of your hard work and what you did at the show. It made it very successful. For those who did not volunteer, please reconsider. We need volunteers for so many things. We need you to help. 1 or 2 hours would be a great help. Okay. Now, we talked about the show, so first of all, I'd like to bring up John PHILPOT and give us a rundown on how we did at the show. I think we'd all like to know that. John?
Thank you, John. First, I'm going to do the treasurer's report real quick. Currently in the savings, there is $60,003.45. In the checking, $39,589.70. So that puts us just at $99,590 and change. So we're doing good, and a lot of that is in part to the show. For the show, we grossed $18,851.25. After the rental, incidentals, and scholarships, we netted $12,918.25, give or take $50. I have to fine tune some of the receipts. I got gross numbers and just got final numbers a little bit ago, so I got to plug those in, but just under $13,000. As John says, we need volunteers for the show. It's how we keep costs down. It's how we pay for everything here. It's how we keep our 501c3 status, funding the scholarships, which also helps us keep our prices down. Because since we don't have to turn a profit, we don't have to pay taxes, and since we don't have to pay taxes, we don't have to charge enough to earn enough to pay taxes. So we had about 1,330 people stop by, not counting teenagers and kids. So we did about 1,500 people. Sold about $1,244 at the rock shop. 868 people, well, there were 868 spins at the wheel. Sold about 1,526 raffle tickets, 185 Ming trees, and in addition to all the egg cartons we give out to the kids for free, we sold 59 to adults. And we sold $1,105 in black lights, which was a new thing this year. I'd like to, how do you guys pronounce your last name? I'm roll with names. Style? I'd like to thank the Styles for taking over the blackout tent as Dan was indisposed. They did a great job. They sent a bunch of people back. And Dan will talk a bit more about those lights later on. But any questions? Yes?
How does that compare to past shows? Is that like the best one we've had?
No, it's in the top 4. When I get final numbers, I always keep copies of comparisons to prior years. So if anybody wants that, I can put it up on the website behind the membership page, or you can always ask directly, and I can email it to you if you like. But as far as vendor sales go, this is our 4th highest show, which isn't bad coming back from a year hiatus and about a third of our old vendors are no longer in the business. So a lot of that was new vendors. So I'd like to thank Tom for getting that organized, but he's not here. I'd also like to thank Terry for helping out, and everybody else who volunteered. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you, John.
What's your
We don't have it confirmed yet, but it'll probably be the weekend of the 19th. It's generally the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Okay. I'd like to bring up our trustees. Mike Becker is not here. Mitch Lee, do you have anything to add? You don't. Tom Atkins, you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay, that makes a quick meeting. Next, I'd like to bring up Lynette Becker. She's our membership chair.
So, as of tonight, I know you're not in the database yet, but we have 446 members. So, be patient with me. I am training somebody new in, so anybody that signed up today or tonight, I'm waiting with that paperwork until Monday so that she can put it in the database and run all the stuff and send it off to communications. Emails come from communications, so if you have a problem getting emails, go into the website, do a general club inquiry kind of thing, and then Melissa, who's our communications gal, will see that if you're having trouble and get directly back to you. It might, if you send it here to me, it might be a couple of days before I get it, and then I have to email her and give everybody's names and stuff, so we can cut out the middleman by doing that. For anybody that signed up today, like I said, these won't get done until Monday. But by next, I wanna say Wednesday or Thursday, I'd be looking, if you haven't gotten an email from the club welcoming you to the club for the membership part where you go in and change your password, check your junk mail, because a lot of times they show up there. So by next weekend, you should have access to the website. Not only that, but people who need orientation, Tom is gonna be here on Saturday between 8 and 12. He will do orientations, plus he'll be here also Tuesday and Thursday of next week and do orientations. We have people going on vacation, so we're limited. Thanks.
Thank you. Linda, you have anything?
For the secretary?
Yes, for the
Okay.
secretary.
I have one thing. All right. Hi, my name's Linda. I'm the secretary for the club, and I do make video recordings. They are posted to YouTube. You can go out to YouTube and just search Apache Junction Rock and Gem Club. We have 22 videos out there now, and we'll be adding more videos on how to use the equipment in the shop, as well as videos on our field trips, what we do, what we find, and we just hope for those people who aren't here year-round that they can still feel like you're a member of the club by going out to YouTube and watching some of those videos. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, I'm gonna put you on with the field trips.
All right. First on my list is Lost and Found. Anybody who went on the what we call the Oklahoma Mines field trip, you lost one glove. So if it's yours, come and get it.
I'll put it in lost and found.
All right.
We do have, by the way, a lost and found locker, so if you do lose something, it may be in there. Just ask any monitor, they can get into it.
Another lost and found when we were gathering the stuff to go to our recent rock show. This ultraviolet light was found here. So again, it belongs to somebody.
Okay. Thank you, I'll take care of it.
Speaking of ultraviolet lights, there's a company that in Glendale called Way Too Cool, T-O-O, cool, and they sell ultraviolet lights, long wave, short wave. There's a variety of ultraviolet lights. Some are rather inexpensive, and some are off the charts, big ones. Recently, we communicated with them and told them we would like to have some of their lights here that we can sell to our own members. So we've made arrangements where we can buy them at a lower cost than he normally sells them for, and then we can sell them for whatever we want to sell them for. So you can buy them from us cheaper than you can buy them from him. If you're interested in either a long wave or short wave ultraviolet light, I have samples on the back table. I can show you when we break up here. And then if you actually want to buy one, then you want to see John standing here.
I don't know anything about shortwave, long wave.
Now, I have in the past given classes on fluorescent rocks and lights. And so about once a year, I teach a class on those things.
Okay.
You don't need to wait for that, but if you're wondering which one to get, I'll make a recommendation to you, but we can do that later when we break up. I have a question for all of you who attend field trips, or whether you don't. I want a little vote here. Because of the higher cost of gasoline, and it appears to be going up, we do a lot of field trips. In fact, some of you who are new in the club, we make the claim that not only are we the biggest club in the state of Arizona as far as members are concerned, and we got Tucson beat big time. But I make the claim that we go on more field trips per year than any other club in the United States. How are you going to prove me wrong? Most clubs within the state go on about one a month. On an average month this time of year, we'll go on 8 or 9. So in an average year, we'll do 45, give or take, plus. So we go on a lot of field trips, and that's, a field trip leader gets some reimbursement for gasoline wear, a little bit of wear and tear on his vehicle. But all of you are paying, there's a little field trip fee. If you're a member, it's $4. If you bring a guest, an adult guest, that's $10. And all youth under the age of 18 go free, no matter whether they're a club member or not. And I'm concerned about, some of you go on just about every field trip. It's $4 and $4 and $4, plus you're paying your gas to get there. I'm always mindful of your pocketbooks. So I have a question. Should we reduce the number of our field trips or keep them where they are? That's the question. So I'm going to ask that in 2 questions. I'll say those who think we ought to reduce the number of field trips, raise their hand in the second question and leave them where they are. Okay, how about who thinks we ought, because of the high price of gas, who thinks we ought to reduce the number of field trips? Don't be bad. Who thinks we ought to leave it where it is? All right, John.
That answers your question.
Ask again in the fall.
Now, yes.
Question. Maybe we can do some kind of carpooling to help everybody else out.
We always offer and recommend carpooling when able. Like just yesterday, we met here to go up to that Forest Road 41 site that's shown over here. And I suggested we carpool from here. Nobody wanted to, so they have their choice. All right, how many of you know what this is? It says golden ticket on it. Some of you who've been in the club for a while know what these are. These are like Willy Wonka, the chocolate factory thing. That's where we got the idea. In our club, when our leadership feel that one of you or more of you have done something pretty special for the club, you get one. Then, some of our field trips most of our field trips are unlimited, meaning if everybody wants to go, we're okay. But some of our field trips are limited on how many people can go. It's usually because we're going to a private location and they say, we can only take 20 of you, that's it. And in those cases, when only 20 can go and 50 want to go, we hold a little contest. But if you're a holder of one of these, you just say, I'm going. You don't have to participate in the contest. You have, of course, it's like spending your golden ticket. You got to hand it in. But it's a free pass. You're going on a field trip. And you get to invite one person to go with you. So it's you and your guest, which is usually a spouse or friend, or it could be anybody. Anybody. Member or not. John has a whole bunch of these. And I encourage him, especially after this recent show that we had. There were people that worked at that show literally for the show was for 2 days, but the day before was a big setup day, and they spent their life for 3 days at that high school. And I wouldn't have survived. I'm amazed how some of our club leadership was able to do it. You know, being on your feet that long, just the stress and the worry, and you need to give yourself a golden ticket, John. But that's what the golden tickets are. So we encourage you to do something in the club, volunteer to do something, and maybe the club leadership will say, yeah, we think you need one of these. Hang on to it, and then there'll be a limited participation field trip, and you're going to want to go. That you don't want to take a chance for the contest, so spend them. Now, on the field trips, pretty much every meeting, I show stuff from the past 4 or 5 field trips, and then what's coming up in the next few. So that's what you'll see over on the table here if you have any questions. And I'm still trying to schedule a few more for late March and into February. It's April. So we're having fun.
Thank you. Let's see who I got next here. Tom Morrison is not here, but I wanted to acknowledge him. He was our chair, and I didn't bring my phone, so I don't have your write-up that you gave me, but just out of memory, Tom has been in charge of the field trips. He's been the chair for several
Shows. Club shows. You said field
shows.
trips.
After many years, he is stepping down. So we need someone to take his place. He has offered certainly to train and show his replacement all of the ins and the outs that what we need to do for the show. He will stay active in the show and help any member and show how the show gets done. We just can't lose the shows, so we are looking for a volunteer or volunteers to help take over the show. So I preach volunteering all the time, and I hope that someone will step up, or several people will step up to get this show going in the spring. All right. Vicky, hospitality, has also resigned her position as hospitality. She is focusing in on the silversmithing. And I gotta tell you, silversmithing, and I'll let them talk about it, but in my opinion, it's gone phenomenal, okay? Fortunately, Kim has stepped up to take over the hospitality.
God help all of you.
So, volunteering is important. Kim does a lot. She does the wire wrapping and all that stuff. Next, I'd like to, Bernie, you have classics. Okay, you're on. What, yeah, I'm gonna put it in.
Okay. Just want to make sure he's doing his job.
You want it?
We need to talk, actually.
Okay, so classes, the month of March, we got a couple of things going. Kim just did a wire wrapping class, always very well received there. Jesse has a cabochon class coming up this coming week. And on Saturday of next week, I'm doing what I'm calling a brainstorming session. It's not a class. It's your chance to come and tell me what you'd like to do. Or give me ideas of how to do something perhaps. I'm guilty of that. I think, why can't we do this? But I have no idea how to do that. So I've got a lot of ideas, but no, nothing. So if you do, if you know how to, Dominic there has brought his drill in for me. If you know how to do things and you know it can work with a rock, I'd love to learn how to do it. And if we can put something together in that fashion, I, again, would love to do that. I'm gonna do a little bit more on that in just a second. But continuing on with our classes, we've got Greg Sather, who's going to do a presentation on making a box. Dick Turpin is going to do a little in-depth, but I'm still calling it a mini geology presentation. And Larry Neal is doing a repeat of my favorite, Lazy Susan. I'm gonna get that done one of these days. So we've got all of that coming up. Coming back to my brainstorming type thing too, what I'm also going to have on display that Saturday are the treasures that we received from Richard Howley. And there's a variety of things from shells and beads and I don't know the technical name. When you make a bolo, it goes into a silver thing. So we have a number of things like that left to us by Richard for the purpose of giving it to the club members in the way of a class situation. So I want you to come and see what have we got. What can you perhaps help us put together a class on using that material? Thank you. Another thing too, and just in case you're not familiar with the program, a lot of these presentations or demonstrations are open to anybody. You know, we've had 3 or 4 people, we've had 50 people. So if you want to come, come. Don't have to do anything but show up. Most of the time, most of the classes at the request of the instructor are limited to a certain number of people. And you can imagine that if you're a student, you want some attention from that instructor. And if that person can only do it with 5 or 6 or 8, we've gotten a lot of understanding on that, and I just wanted to mention that again. Coming up in April, Kim is going to do another wire wrapping class, and this is going to be a pendant, as I recall.
We're not really set on that. I kind of want to get some feel for it from some of the students, but I want to do 2 classes. I want to go back to doing another beginner wire wrapping class for anybody who wants to do beginner 101. And then I'm going to do intermediate 2, which is taking beginning, the intermediate class we did today, and bring that to the next level. So you'll be incorporating your weaving now with beads.
Okay, you heard it from the boss.
Yes.
We also have Doug Duffy coming in April to give us a more extensive presentation on geology. I don't have the details on that yet, so watch your email or the signs that are posted here or our website. I also got a call this past week from Ray Grant, who is in charge of the Pinal County Museum. He had come here a few years ago and did a hands-on class to test hardness in rocks. And I had asked him if he would be able to do that again. He wasn't able at the time, but he did get a hold of me and said, due to other circumstances, he won't be able to do it in the near future. He did give me an alternate contact, so maybe I can still get something going there. And then in April, Linda Huss is going to do a class on copper, as I recall. And it's just going to be an hour focus there. So we're going to break it up into certain things, get some hands-on participation going on, all that. If by chance you have been selected to attend a class, this is one of those where we've got limited participation, and it turns out life happens, and gosh, here it is 3 o'clock, you're supposed to be there at 6 and you know you can't. If you would be kind enough to call me or send me a text, then I'm glad to call the next person on the list to see if they can come in and fill the spot. So just if you have a chance to do that. I also got an email And this was directed to one particular instructor. But I'd like to read this because I don't express this, I don't think, a lot. But this individual said she wanted to, first of all, she said, I've been a member of the club for a few years, but I'm only in Arizona for January through March, and I just haven't gotten a start in what I can really do. I enjoy reading all of the rock news in the newsletters. If I don't make the cut for this particular class, I hope you'll be able to teach the class again next year. I really like rocks. I have them everywhere. That got me. Who doesn't, right? Thank you for taking the time to teach classes. It is appreciated by all. And I know I've had individuals who've come and said to me, thank you so much for doing that. And I appreciate that, of course. But I don't know if I always extend that to the instructors. So I know you do, and I just wanted to blurb on that a little bit. We have, remember my little brainstorming thing? Not that I want to pressure anybody, but we have Mother's Day coming up and Father's Day coming up, and maybe folks might have ideas of what they could make for their mother or their father. Just saying, no pressure. All right, and then Linda is going to do a mini little presentation on copper right now. Okay?
Yep.
And then I understand we're going to have a little talk from our silversmithing folks.
Thank you, Ronnie.
I'm gonna just talk real quickly
Go
about
ahead, you can talk.
copper. Okay, so Arizona is one of the largest producers of copper for the United States. In fact, Arizona produces 65% of the copper. We have 10 copper mines in Arizona. 2 of them are north of Phoenix. The rest of them are southeast. There's a couple other mines that are in the works, but they're still working through legalities with native tribes. I'm out on all of that, but I absolutely love copper, not only because it's a very dense rock. That's probably one of the reasons I love it. But it is used in everything that we do. And I mean, it's used in the lights, it's used in electricity, it's used to ground our power sources. We use it in our electric vehicles. So if you plug something into a wall, you're using copper. And at the rate that we're using it, we could technically run out of copper because the demand is higher than the production of copper. So what I'm going to talk about at that class, it's April 7th, so it's 4 Thursdays from now. I'm going to talk about how we actually make copper. Well, that's not all we're talking about. But the density of copper is almost 9. Okay, this is a piece of native copper. It's so heavy and it feels amazing. But put that in comparison with a silver. A silver density is just like 1 higher than this. And I don't know if you're familiar with density, but it is basically a cubic measure of mass for the piece of specimen that I'm holding. And then if you take copper at an 8.94 density and silver at a 10.5, I've never held a big nugget of gold, but gold is 19.32. I now want to hold a piece of gold because I'm thinking it will take 2 hands. But so there's 3 different ways that copper comes. This is a natural form, but it's not really what we're going to see out of the ground necessarily. This is caused by weathering from wind and water. Okay, but what we also see, there's a primary source, and those are called the sulfides, which the biggest producer of copper is this guy right here, and this is a chalcopyrite. And it has, I don't want to tell you wrong, it's 34.5% pure copper after processing. So this all gets processed through different methods. Mostly, sadly, they're crushed and melted because the melting point on copper is not very, it doesn't take a whole lot of heat, like a hot water, which is how it ends up in cracks and in veins. So some of the other things that we're going to talk about, this actually is a sphalerite, no, shadokite. This is a shadowkite. It's from a mine here in Arizona. But all the different beautiful colors that you see, that's from oxidation. So these come up out of the ground, they get close to the surface, they come in contact with oxygen, they come in contact with water, and then they turn these beautiful colors from the copper. And then to make copper, sadly, they get crushed and melted and turned into objects that we can use. These are some from a field trip that we went on. Beautiful. What I love about these, especially on the malachite, let me show you one of those. A malachite with banding. Well, so this is a little malachite elephant. Malachite has a hardness of 3.5, so it's used for carvings. What I think is interesting is there's dark and light patterns, like weaves. So when it's dark, that means the climate was dry. When it's light, that means the climate was wet or more humid. And I didn't read it, but logic seems to me that when it's wet, it's more diluted. But I'm not a geologist, so I'm not sure if that's true or not. It just kind of makes sense. But the malachite is used because it's beautiful with its banding and floral patterns, and it's easy to carve. Michigan, actually, is anyone here from Michigan? Couple, three? So Michigan has the largest deposits in America of copper. Found the very largest big boulder of copper, came down, I think it's Lake Superior, in the Upper Peninsula. And it is called, Antonczak. It's a copper boulder. This beast, it's only 3 foot, 8 inches wide, 3 feet, 4 inches tall. It weighs 3,700 pounds. So that part of Michigan has been nicknamed the Copper Country or Copper Island, and that's a lot of what we're going to talk about, plus the two other cool things that we're going to do at the class in April. I'm going to bring about 10 loops, maybe 15, and we're going to go on a journey looking at all of these beautiful rocks, because there's crystals in these, and you can really get lost looking at the different colors and variation. The other cool thing we're going to do is copper is a mineral, and we see it in this form, but it's also inside the foods that we eat. It's inside our body. And I have a little copper mineral tasting kit that when I mix it with distilled water, if the water with the copper mineral in it tastes sweet, then your body needs more. If it's bitter, you have too much. And if you don't taste anything at all, you're just right. And copper in our body is wonderful for the iron in our blood. And people will wear copper jewelry like Kim has woven up here, which she was saying this can be done in one of her classes. Copper jewelry, they wear it for anti-inflammation. I don't know if you've been familiar with that, but beautiful work that you can do with copper. So hopefully you guys can come to the class in April. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Terry Ritter for silversmithing.
Well, we have just finished our first set of classes. We had 2 classes, 3 weeks each. We now have 17 graduates from our classes. They are now metalsmiths, silversmiths, and they're working independently. This week, an email will come out for the next set of classes. We're going to be offering them on Saturdays this time for our working people, and Mondays. So please look for that email, because we can only take 8 per class. So it's first come, first serve when you respond to that email. And did you know that silver has copper in it? Yep. Fine silver does not, because that's taken out through a process of heating and cooling, and that's how fine silver is made, is by taking the copper out. And we do work with copper too in the class, so that you aren't spending a ton of money in the beginning. We'll start working with copper, so all of our joints and our arthritis is gone. So please come join us. We're having a ball. It's fun. Stop by back there, check out what we're doing. A lot of people do, And it's just really nice to be creating a network of artists and a community of artists. And we're continuing to be real excited about it. And we appreciate the support that everybody has shown us. So thank you.
Yeah, I have to say they're doing a great job out there. The classes and what they're doing is really kind of great. I was going to bring up Wally Finch, but he's not here on the youth. And Adam is not here either, the shop manager. Okay, and I'll go to club updates. We now have a trash dumpster out back. I guess it's a 3-yard. It holds a lot of trash. They pick it up automatically every Thursday morning, and it's working wonderful. We're paying, what is it, John, $1.50 more a month, something like that, than we did to the city, and we don't have to bring out and worry about it, because if it gets forgotten, one of the monitors don't get it out, we got too much trash. Now we can just take these bags, throw them in there, and we can put just about anything in there. That's legal anyway. So, Tom, you want to mention something about the new grinders?
Only that they are definitely on the production schedule now, which is 7 months in the makings. But that's pretty typical of everybody that makes machinery right now.
Yeah, everything's backlogged. We got a place for them.
Yeah.
Okay, the concrete out back, the board has voted to replace the bad concrete out there from the flat surface. After it slopes down, we're gonna take out some of it and then pour some over the other top of it. The cost of that is estimated about $7,500. We will do the work in May. I've talked with the contractor, he's ready to do it in May. He's booked up right now. And May, our attendance will be down, so it'll be a lot easier to get it in and give it time to cure before we get all of our stuff on it. But it will be a blessing for me. I think it's dangerous out there the way that concrete's breaking up and someone's gonna trip over it, and you know, we don't want that to happen. The 2 wood stumps that are out there, purified wood, that we moved away so that we could paint the front of the building. We're gonna put back. The board voted not to sell them.
Yay.
Well, I like our 2 guardians at the front of the saw room. Okay, another issue that you take note of, we are going to be painting the floor of the shop on Saturday the 26th and allow it to cure on the 27th, Sunday. So the shop will be closed Saturday and Sunday for that purpose. The floor needs repainting, recoating. It lasts us about 9 months, and you know, it's about the best we can do. A real coating on the floor is thousands of dollars. So we've opted to paint. We do need volunteers to help paint. Yes, sir.
The expensive stuff is the epoxy garage floor type
Yeah.
material?
No, it's the same, pretty much the same paint we put before.
Okay, but this is the inexpensive way,
Yeah.
but how about with the epoxy coatings?
We checked that out, and it was cost prohibitive at the time.
Okay.
So that's what they had to do. You know, to go in, around, and all of our stuff, the cost, we had gotten 3 estimates for 3 different companies doing it, and the board voted it all down. We know painting doesn't last, but painting is cheap. And I have a sign-up board here for people. We need people to help us not only paint, but move the chairs and the tables out and everything. So we do need help for that. and I talk about volunteering, there's a chance to volunteer. It'd probably take 2-3 hours to move everything out and paint this floor. If you get a couple people, we do it with rollers. It's pretty easy. Okay, so appreciate anybody who can volunteer to help do that on Saturday. Okay, as president, I have a wish list for the approval, with the approval of the board, because nothing happens without approval. I have often said to people, I'm the president, not the dictator. So the board has to replace everything. The counter in the back where we have our grinding machines is falling apart. The particle board underneath the Formica is just deteriorating. Water's getting into it. We need to replace it with either something like a plastic corian or a light corian material, or stone like we've replaced over there. But we need something that's waterproof, that will last us forever. We want to do it one more time, and that's it. It's kind of expensive to do it, but that's falling apart back there. We put the corian type over here, and over there we put the stone. So the board will make that choice if I get the approval to do it. I'd also like to purchase another large saw, 30 inches or even 36 inches. A 30 inch is about 7,900, a 36 about 10,600. We're using the big saw we have out there just constantly, and it's constantly under repair. So, right? So I'm going to bring up to the board that we look at that. Don't mean I'm going to get it, but we'll look at it. I also think we need to purchase a new saw for the turquoise and Christacola. That saw back there is, I think it's beyond us working. We've tried to keep it up, but it's not. I'd also like to see us purchase another trim saw. So that gets used quite a bit, and that would be my wish list, and maybe some more chairs, but we'll hold off on that. You know, I can spend money, but just sitting with almost $100,000 in the bank is probably not good for a nonprofit organization. Okay? I'll remind everybody about the raffle. We'll call out the numbers, and then you mentioned vacations. Oh, yes. What's that? You want to say something? Oh, that's right. I forgot about you. Come on down.
Okay, that's it. I'm speaking for Adam, he's on vacation.
Okay. I don't think anybody can really speak for Adam.
Okay. He says the 24 inch is up and running. He put it, him and, I can't remember who the electrician was he worked with. But they put that 220 motor in there. And yesterday it went down because I put a chain in it for stop, and it broke the switch. So I had to put another switch in it, and the chain's off of it. So you have to watch the saw. 2 grinders are down, the one in the corner and the one that's marked over here into you can't turn the one off in the corner because there's no motor there. Is running smooth. The shop is running smooth other than that. We've got a few things. We got 3 motors, and we're gonna try to replace all these motors in here because they're really the wrong kind of motor to have in here. I talked to Mike Burrows, and Adam put me on him and told me to get a hold of him, and we ordered 3 motors. We're gonna try them out, see how they work out, and then according to the board and president here, we're gonna keep buying a few at a time. The pump that Adam bought the other day had oil contamination in the the barrel in the shed. So we're using the one outside the shed for now. We don't know how it got that way, but we'll probably have to strain it, or if it came that way, we'll have to somehow get.
He's replacing the barrel.
Is he? Okay, good. Yeah, while I'm working on stuff out here, I've noticed a lot of people will either walk away from their machine with it running and water running on it, or keeps running, and I'll shut it off or something, or they step away for more than about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. I figured somebody left it on, but we gotta watch doing that. That's kind of dangerous. Cleaning motors, these and the grinders and the polishers. Keep your eyes open for scorpions. I guess we got one in the bathroom. We're gonna fix that though. I guess we're gonna caulk it.
Yep.
A couple others. And that's about all I got. Just, you guys see me out there. I enjoy fixing things better, almost as good as working in rocks, so.
Russ,
Yes,
I was over at the polisher today, the one in the middle,
yeah.
and this has happened to me before when I was on it. I was on that thing 15 minutes. I was shocked no less than 6 times.
Wow.
Jeff has said the same thing. That polisher is not ground, and there is tremendous heat pouring off it, but I was shocked so bad the rock was just flying out of my hand because it was putting electricity through me. But everybody complains that they get shocked on that machine when they use it.
Well, I see stuff, I'd say it's probably a little bit of static, but the problem is I've seen around here is a lot of stuff is mounted on wood.
Well, see,
So
I'm
we need
just
to ground
using,
the motors to something solid,
Right.
so.
I'm just using my fingers. I don't use a stick or anything. Got my fingers, but the second you touch any part of that metal, you're getting shocked.
Well, you work with copper.
This is true.
That's
But yeah, I just wanted to give that for an FYI, just so you know.
Copper is going up, you guys. I work at Home Depot and I got a lot of complaints, so you know what that is. I gotta go.
Okay, thank you.
Take care, everybody.
And I do want to mention, I'll get you in a second, we have a suggestion box. And if you have a suggestion, put it in. The last time I got a suggestion, I think it was probably from Becky, said that the bathroom had an odor to it. And so I bought a automatic sprayer in there. It's easy. If we, guys don't think about that. But, so if you have a suggestion or something, or you see something, please, just write a note, drop it in the box. I look at it regularly, try and see what's happening. I need your input. I don't know it all. I tell you what I'm thinking, what I'd like to do. The board just can't approve everything. We can't do everything. There's a lot of work around here to be done. The back needs to be cleaned up. The trailer needs to be emptied. Lots of stuff to be done. Weeds out along the back side there, along outside our fence, need to be taken care of. Just tons of stuff around. You just gotta look around and see what you can do. And volunteer for a couple of hours, hey, we're happy. Okay, now we have the raffle, and before we actually go into the raffle, Dan mentioned members going on vacation. Jerry, the vice president's on a cruise right now, and I leave on one. Well, I go on the airplane tomorrow morning at 5 in the morning, and I'll be gone. Yeah, I know, I'm out of your hair. I'll be out of here for 6 weeks. So, yes.
One thing I failed to mention when I gave my report, about a week ago I received a phone call from a Mrs. June Wishcop. Her husband used to be a member of our club. He passed away January or just before January, and he's got some tools. This yellow says tools for sale. Please take a look at it. If you a drill press, some lapidary stuff, a saw of some kind, and there's pictures of it right below it. So if you're interested.
Okay. Yes, they're kept in the shed out of that.
Check it for scorpions because we found a scorpion in the egg cartons on Saturday.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. We live in an area where we have scorpions. When you go on rock hunts, you watch out for snakes.
You need a black light.
You need a black light. So, yes, we need to be careful and everything. I don't know that we can go through. What's that? Yeah, we can spray. I'll bring that up. There's no reason we can't spray. That's a cheap thing. What's that? Come spray it. That's volunteering. We need the volunteering. All right, does anybody have any questions for us before we go into the raffle and adjourn? Okay, I'm gonna let Tom and Kim take over the raffle. I'm gonna get out of here because I gotta pick me up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I still have to do a bunch of things around the house to get ready. We couldn't do today. I do thank everybody for coming, and I do hope some people will sign up for the floor.
Yeah, I got a lot of, those are fluorescents, yeah. They're all from the same area.
Sorry. Excuse me.
I got some pretty nice ones too. How about you?
Yeah. Yep, they're in front of my front door. Yep.
My arms are still sore.
We got some more from here in this box right here.
Let's put it right there.
Yeah, right.
This is from Forest Road.
Forest Road 41.
Mine? Ooh, that's
North
a
of
nice
Phoenix.
one. Did you find that one?
Yeah.
That's a nice one. That's pretty.
It was sticking right on top. It wasn't even covered up.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Dan, is this one open to anybody?
Kim. Okay. He told me he's already got it.
You guys see it?
Sometimes you can choose them on
Yeah, I get to see, I saw a lot of wire right Thank you. Those go in. In the bucket, okay.
All the gorgeous rocks.